Fix It Tony here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're back with the Lexus LS460. This is my original car. We're at 220,000 miles. We've done 7 oil changes with Valvoline, Restore, and Protect. And I'm getting a lot of the same questions, which is, do you keep on using that oil or do you use something else? So we're going to switch it up and see what happens. We're going to move over to the Valvoline Extended Protection High Mileage. You know, a lot of people say, well, does Valvoline Restore and Protect help you with seals that are leaking? The answer is no. It will not help you with that. But the max life that's in the Valvoline actually does swell the seals a little bit. So it does help with oil leaks, seepages, not actual active leaks. But we're going to test it out and see how it does and see if we see any difference after a few oil changes using this. In the back here, you can see they added, you know, a lot of the oil says is 70% better wear protection, 20% better sludge defense. So we're going to test that. We know this engine's clean inside. So we're going to run this oil for a little while and see if we have any of the varnish return to the vehicle and improve fuel economy. And again, who knows if that's actually true, but you know, we'll check that too. Right now we average mixed driving about 21 miles per gallon in this vehicle. So we'll see if that changes at all. I don't think it will, but who knows. But they do recommend this for any vehicle with 75,000 or more miles on it. And this vehicle has 220,000. So we'll see how it does. This is also less expensive. Valvoline Restore and Protect has shot up in some areas $40 for a jug, which is insane. I really hope Valvoline will watch this video and know, hey, people are moving to your product. Don't start price gouging them. They're going to not want to move to your product, and myself being included. But this stuff is right now at $27.99 for a 5-quart jug over at Walmart. So not only is it a little less expensive, but if it does the same job after we cleaned out this motor, then, you know, it's worth its while there. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and get this vehicle in the air and we'll get the oil drained and take a look at the filter. So the oil's a little hot today. I've been driving for work for a couple hours here, so this is gonna be a little spicy coming out. But for some reason, I'm getting it shooting out the back here. It's hit and miss sometimes with this thing. All right, we'll let her drain out. If you're new to the channel, most Toyota products use a canister type filter, which you'll see up there. You need to remove this cap first. And I'll have this tool in the description, but you screw this tool in instead of putting the little plug thing they give you in. And then you just turn this knob here, as you can see. And what that'll do, that'll actuate the valve inside and drain your oil filter housing before you take it loose. This makes much cleaner job. Has a hose that funnels it away. As you can see, the oil's draining right out. And we just let that go for a little while before we get in there and take the whole housing out. Once you're done with that, you're going to get this tool. And again, these tools will be in the description. I do have an affiliate link. It helps me out with the channel if you want to buy these tools. This is the best one I've used. It hasn't broken. And it grabs onto multiple oil filters besides just the Toyota type. It's made by Abigail, but you see those teeth right there. Sorry, not the teeth, but the indents. They grab into the teeth on the filter itself, and then you go right in there and you can break it loose. Again, do not over tighten and do not loosen this up too much. Use a torque wrench. That way you're not having problems getting it on and off. Once she's loose, she'll come off pretty easily here. And we'll just take her out and dump her here. And we'll take a look at the inside of the housing and see if there's any sludge or anything that's built up in there. Okay, so we have our oil filter here. Sorry, a little feather gun on that didn't come from the engine, that was from the inside of here. So we're gonna pull this thing out. Filter feels kind of heavy. It's a regular paper filter. Just looking for any glitter, anything. I just did that. I really don't see any wear metals or anything that worries me here. I do this every time. That looks good. I'll take a look at the bottom of the housing. Before, when we first started doing these oil changes, there's a little bit of sludge that would end up down there, but this is pretty clean. Don't see anything to worry about there. Look at the inside of the housing here. And again, this is how we know I have a clean engine. I mean, even look at the inside of that housing. It looks like brand new. That's 220,000 miles, and this is after Restore and Protect. So, I mean, those are your results. It looks like a brand new engine inside that housing there. So anyway, we'll put our filter back together and put oil in her and go from there. Okay, so we have our filter all cleaned off. And again, there's really nothing in there, which is nice. Grab our new filter here. We're just gonna just drop her in like so, push her in until she engages. Very good. And then you're gonna pull your old gaskets off. You'll see the gasket right there. If you haven't done this before, you just go with a pick, preferably a pick, not a screwdriver, because screwdrivers can damage the channel that this O-ring sits in. and you just gently just grab it and pull it off. And then the other O-ring is going to be on the bottom here. See if this thing will not, trying to do this one hand is always fun. You pull that O-ring off there. And then in the new filter, you'll get 2 new gaskets. So you just replace them, put a little bit of oil on them, and then you want to tighten them down accordingly, and then put this cap back on here, and then you can put the housing back in and torque it down to spec. Okay, so we got our new gaskets on. I haven't tightened this up yet because we'll torque it at the end. And your torque spec usually in here, see it's 25 Newton meters. I don't know if you can read that right there. Torque it down accordingly, use a torque wrench. That way you don't over torque it, you don't under torque it. But you just screw the whole assembly back on as a whole. We'll get the torque wrench on, we'll torque those both down, and we're good to go. All right, we'll bring her down here. A lot of people ask if I'm sponsored by Valvoline. I am not. I wish they would. Oil is expensive and getting more expensive every day. I'm clearly just doing it for you guys, so please like, subscribe, and share it. It helps my channel. You don't even know. I have a full-time job. I do this on the side, and honestly, I don't even make that much money doing it, but I would like to help people like you who are trying to figure out ways to make their cars last longer, actually work for an auction. And, you know, I watch cars come through that are just not maintained very well, and they don't maintain their value. People have to trade them in, and hopefully, if I watch my videos, you'll learn how to do proper maintenance and use products like Valvoline Restore and Protect to keep your car alive and be able to do that many more miles. I think my little plug got stuck down here. Let's take a look. Oh, yep, sure did. Anyway, get all the miles you can out of your car, because again, it takes about 200,000 miles and 10 years to get your money out of a car. If you trade it in before then, you're losing money. You're leaving money on the table. Unless the car is a complete piece of junk, you're better off keeping the car. Just between you and I, just working in the industry. So anyway, I took the cover off because I'm going to take a look at the air filters here, make sure they're in good shape, and they're K&N, so I'll treat those if necessary, but we'll add oil here in a moment. And this is why I check my air filters every oil change. We've had dusty conditions for a little while now, as you can see. That's pretty dirty and pretty nasty. So we'll go ahead and service these air filters while we're doing the oil change here. Very important to watch your fluid levels. And I've told people before on this channel, it's important that you keep your brake fluid clean on these cars. These use an electronic pump, and it tends to react very badly to dirty fluid. And also remember, brake fluid does absorb water. So even if it's in a humid area, you're going to get water in the system whether you like it or not, because the system is constantly cycling in and out, which creates a little bit of a vacuum in there, a little bit of condensation gets in there, water ends up in there, it'll actually rust the components inside. Even though you can't see them, that's what's happening. And we see a lot of premature failures of these pumps because of that reason, and it is a very expensive, very difficult repair. As you can see, the whole mechanism's down all in there, including the computer here. It's a lot of work. I do it every 6 months. I just get a suction tool, or even like a turkey baster works. Take all the fluid out, clean it out with a clean rag on the inside as best you can, refill it with a good quality synthetic fluid like from Prestone, and you won't have to really worry about that. 220,000 miles and going on 20 years old, still has the factory pump. Makes noise once in a while, but we aren't getting the dreaded codes, which will indicate needing a whole new pump, which that repair, if you take it to a shop, is almost $3,000. So don't do that. Also, we check the coolant level. These cars are prone to 2 types of oil coolant leaks. One is the water pump, which I've done 3 times on this car, which unfortunately is just part of owning this car. And then there's a coolant bypass tube. It runs from the middle here through the V into the back. The timing cover, everything has to come off to get that one done. Cross your fingers, you never have that problem. There's really no way to avoid it if it starts. You can use K-Seal. I've seen that work. I've used that on the Fords also, because those have leak down problems with the cylinders on the turbo models, but it also works on this. Just a little bit added to the coolant. It won't hurt the coolant system. It won't clog your radiator, but if a leak does develop, it will seal it up. So if you do notice a small leak coming from anywhere in the valley here, I recommend using that. Or you can get it repaired, which is about a 12 to 13 hour job if you take it to a shop, and then however many hours it takes if you want to do it, plus all the parts, including taking the intake manifold off. So if you can avoid doing that, do yourself a favor and do that. So anyway, I'm going to clean these filters up, and then we'll add some oil. One more tip: when you get something with a heavy additive package like this, it's good to give it a shake. You don't know how long this stuff's been on the shelf, and it'll tend to go to the bottom and if you don't pour all the oil out, you may not get all the additive package in there. So we'll finish pouring this in here and we'll get this oil change light reset. All right, so we're topped off with oil. We put the air filters back in after I serviced those. Topped off our coolant. We were a little bit low. I did the water pump last spring. We've used the heater a couple of times. Sometimes there's an air pocket in there. Drops the level just a little bit. There's no leak or anything like that, so we're not worried about that. And in the winter, I don't put the air intake up here back on because it's cold outside. You can put yours on if you want. It does sound a little cooler with it off, but when it gets hot, I'll put it back on. But in the winter time, I do leave that off. I'll get inside and we'll get this change oil light reset. All right, we started her up. Don't mind my added gas. I'm putting a fuel additive in at the end of this, which is also part of my preventive maintenance that I do. So we want to make sure we're in trip A. We're going to turn the vehicle off, and then we're going to hold the reset button and turn to the on position, and then we'll reset this change oil light here. And you'll see it scan all the way over. Boom, complete. We're good to go there. And good. So we had the LS460. I reset the trip meter on this so I know when the next oil change is coming. It comes about every 5,000 miles. We're going to be working on the Camaro next. Some coilovers, some maintenance, transmission flushes. This is an automatic oil change, and also making sure we are doing the Magnuson supercharger on this. We're going to service that, show you how to do that. The ES350 we've been working on, this is actually for sale. My son's in the military right now and it's not using it, so we're going to go ahead and sell it while it's sitting around. If you're interested in this car, I'll put it in the description. And then last but not least, our leaky beast here, the Volkswagen Bug. This is an all original 63 Bug we're going to be working on. There's some maintenance, bringing her back to life, and it also will be for sale. So if you have any questions about this one, please ask, because this is an all original movie car, believe it or not. Everything's original right down to the glass. So thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in anything you see, please comment. I try to get back to everybody and respond to everybody. So have a great day.